Yeah, there's a lot of sex. You know, premium cable sex.
Not that Red Shoe Diary trash.
Hey, that got me through my early teens.
It got all of us.
Alrighty, TMI, TMI.
Hey, man.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, here with my friends, and we're here to discuss entertainment, culture, and whatever the hell we feel like. And what the hell we feel like tonight, and the friends I have with me, is going to be an Emmys discussion, and what we're watching, and a talk about why The Last Man, or why The Last Woman has left our podcast. At least.
Oh.
Hi, Brooksy. How are you? Thanks for joining us. So with me tonight, of course, I have my good buddies. We're gonna start with Mike. How you doing, Mike?
I'm all right. Sorry I missed last week. I ran into some police trouble. Apparently, me playing the Wii with my shirt off is considered a hate crime now. So I won't be doing that anymore.
Why were you playing? Never mind.
The question is which Wii was he playing with?
It's like question. The crime was really you playing a Wii.
What? What's wrong with the Nintendo Wii? It's still a good system.
Yeah.
That's sitting.
The problem is people get scared when I play tennis. So I will keep my shirt on from now on.
All right. All right, Keith. How you doing?
What up, guys? Remember, it's dark and hell is hot.
Is it hot down there?
Salute Darkman X.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, and last but not least is James. How you doing, James?
Hey, man, it's been another one of those weeks. So I'm here. I'm surviving. I'm standing.
Thank you.
Still
Still standing.
Still standing.
Still strong.
I'm still standing.
No, that was that with
What's his name?
Turning into Elton John on me.
Has he stopped acting?
Who's
Antoine Fisher. No, he was in Captain America: Howling Commandos, and that was his last movie.
All right,
Who was?
I felt
The
like
black dude in the Howling Commandos, the actor, Antoine Fisher.
The director? No, that's Fuqua. I'm thinking of Fuqua. Okay.
No, you're thinking of the
I know
actual.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I started the timer because you guys can't shut up even in the opening.
Hey,
But the opening is a whole 5 minutes.
right? We get 5 minutes for introductions. It's 3 minutes. I have the recording timer going.
Let's give it up the minutes already.
Yeah.
time Nazis now.
Yo, man, the white man always trying to keep us down.
Oh, come on. No, that's not. No, come on, guys. Come on.
All right.
That's all right. That's all right. It was
I'll edit
James.
that from the-
It was
I'll
James who
edit that from
decided
the
to
final
colonize
cut.
the discussion today. So.
Oh, this is actually
All right.
a funny one tonight.
So we wanted to get in. Well, let me say, Mike wanted to get into the Emmys, so I'm going to pass this directly. This ball is going directly over to Mike. And I'm going to hand it off, nice and easy. Don't drop it.
Every year I try to get into Emmys, and security just escorts me right back out. So.
Hey, you didn't
year
win
is
any either. So.
No, so listen. So there is a great show. The main reason I want to talk about the Emmys is because James and I watched this great show called Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's probably one of the best comedies I've seen in a long time. And I haven't seen a show in a long time that every time I watch it, I feel better about humanity. Just from watching that show.
Can I ask you why you didn't put Ted Lasso on here instead of the Emmys?
Because the season's not over. We'll do a review at the end of this.
Yeah, season's not over yet. We're in season 2, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Ted
I think
Lasso's
all the Wars were season 1.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso is that funny?
Yeah,
that funny?
So, yeah, I actually told you a couple weeks ago. It's also on Heroes Peak.
Mm-hmm. So that show had a bunch of nominations, and I was glad that what's her name? I don't remember her name. Waddington, right?
Yeah, Kathleen Warner. She plays the owner of the football club.
Well, basically, Ted Lasso came home with Best Supporting Actress and
Best actor,
yeah,
comedy. Great. Then
and,
it was either The Crown or Ted Lasso.
yeah, and so props to Jason Sudeikis. He got his due. He got his award for Best Actor in a Comedy, and I think he was made for this role. Like they sat down, said, "This is for you," and he just knocks it out of the park. So it's a must watch.
Yeah, it is. Really recommend it too.
Yeah. So the other thing James mentioned was The Crown, which I have no interest in. I don't watch it. like if it's royalty, like whatever, I will pass.
What worse this year, real quick, is because you got Game of Thrones and Better Call, and all these shows you normally would get weren't in contention this year. So The Crown was getting every dramatic freaking award. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And I was
wasn't WandaVision winning everything.
They lost everything they're nominated for, except for technical.
Yeah, right. They got
Catherine Hahn
awards.
Didn't Catherine Hahn win something?
She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a limited series.
She lost to somebody from The Crown.
No.
Oh, Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. Yep.
Yeah, Queen's Gambit. Yeah.
What was the other Disney show that we watched that was nominated?
There was a couple of them. Mandalorian was nominated.
Mandalorian.
Disney left the table kind of empty. Once you take away the technical awards, they left empty-handed. Like Netflix, HBO Max, and Apple TV.
Yeah.
That's it.
As far as the whole Disney thing goes, they are not building giant dramatic masterpieces. They are building genre content for geeks, 90% of it. And to be honest, the fact that they were even nominated is a boon to what they're trying to do. They're saying, look, we're making quality content good enough to be nominated. We'll get some technical awards and we'll praise them to high heavens. And that's good enough, I think, for Disney.
Disney is realizing what the game is now.
Well, their other shows too are all family oriented, so they're not really high quality dramas, right? They're teeny bopper stuff and kid stuff. So
animated, teen drama.
Like Stamos has a show. Stamos had that show where he's
with the girls' basketball team.
Yeah, and that's like a teeny bopper show, really. So
I don't think that they're really trying to go niche or really like supremely concerned with like. I'm not going to say they're not concerned with show quality or whatever, but like I really think that they're going more of a gen pop angle. Like you're going to get like they're going to pump out content.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
pump out content to just keep people watching. Because that's what the game is now. Like, honestly, like, it's about, like, who has the most original content. And that's just going to be the game.
And Disney, at minimum, has a consistent quality shot. That's what they're doing. Yeah. They're like, this is our quality level. As long as we hit that.
And we're going to hit that basic level, and we're going to give you a lot of it.
And we'll be happy if we get a great Catherine Hahn performance that gets a nomination or something like that. Outside of that, we could talk all day about that. But these other shows, and Netflix is kind of doing the same thing. But Netflix is kind of a real shotgun approach of they're doing everything from anime to high quality, high drama to
I think Netflix has to do that. That formula has to happen for Netflix because they don't have the Disney, other streams of revenue, and they don't. So Netflix, this is what they're in business for: ratings, critical acclaims, all that stuff. So they have to perform this way.
And one thing. Oh, sorry, Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, what it all comes down to, though, is like this was a year for the streaming service because I don't remember too many network shows that were nominated for anything. So
no, and the one thing I wanted to mention in this pod for this Emmys discussion is I looked at this morning Variety.com's top 15 most popular, most watched. That means the highest advertisement per dollars per minute. If you take away NFL football, it's This Is Us, which was nominated, didn't win. The Masked Singer, Grey's Anatomy, Equalizer, 911 and all the shows around that, The Bachelor and Bachelorette, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, and then the last one is the only comedy on this, South Park. None of them This Is Us was nominated.
Wow.
So, and those are the shows that the networks are making money off of.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're gonna like this is a direction that we have to actually get used to, because this like the streaming services have more production dollars than the network.
Well, and they're not putting dollars into a 13th 911 spinoff or CSI spinoff, because those are the things that generate income. They're going to, hey, Dwayne Johnson is a big name right now. Let's give him a bunch of money and bring him in to make a movie. Let's
Because
people really love, yeah,
because we
people
want to
really love.
increase subscribership.
Right, exactly. They're looking at their algorithms of what combinations of, you know, bloody people with the British crown. That's what people want, so we'll make something like that. So that's where they're putting their money. And like
And the
Mike said,
streaming
that's what I
service,
was going to bring up, was that I heard that almost nothing was winning from network television. It was all streaming services.
Yeah.
people don't want to watch commercials.
Only one of the top 15 shows was nominated. Top 15 new shows.
I think a big thing for me is that there's been a lot of complaining about how movie theaters are just getting giant movie blockbusters and stuff like that. We've had this I don't know if we've had the conversation,
We
but
did during the Oscar season. We have.
and the fact that we're seeing these streaming services is all of that mid-tier budget stuff has moved to the streaming service. So instead of getting a mid-tier budget, you know, Roman Emperor Julius Caesar movie, you're now getting a series on, Amazon Prime with that kind of content from that kind of director. I'm
And you're
surprised, like
more
the Green Knight could have easily been a streaming service, 4-part series or something, as
Or shit
well
came
as.
out on a regular HBO. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
and but the also it's like the business model of how you make money. The network TV still being dependent on advertising. Their content is going to be different or geared
Mhm.
different than like a streaming service than like Netflix. That it's not about the commercial advertisement. It's about your physical like subscribership. Like that's driving the revenue model. So that means that like you are my customer, not the advertiser. It becomes different.
Right.
Like
Yep.
like like you're the end customer. In network television, the advertisers are the end customer. You're a
Well,
Oh,
product.
exactly. Yep.
The
That's
Yeah.
viewer is
also
the product.
also about who is the audience. So the audience of getting out and going to a movie theater is different than the audience that has cable television, is different than the audience who is subscribing to Netflix, different than the audience that's subscribing to Disney Plus. You know, they're playing to their audience. So an audience that wanders around looking for the highest quality, best dramas that they can talk about on a weekly basis is those ones that are, Netflix and Amazon Prime and whatever. Whereas James just rattled off all the ones that are the weekly crime of the week. Are basically, sob story, crime of the week, whatever you want to watch on network television. Those are the big money makers, and sports, because sports.
Yeah.
And to your point about the only the large releases or the big movie releases being going to the movie theater, that kind of like that still supports the point I was making a few months ago about like the movie going experience is really going to have to change in order for them to get people down there. And I think that falls in line with it. Like it's only going to be your major like your big anticipated releases that are really going to be super super duper successful in the movie theater if they're also going to be streamed. I think like most of that middle level content is going to be released, like movies I'm talking about, is going to be released on streaming services. And it just makes more, it's going to make more like more financial sense. Like it's just like you're not going to be able to justify putting like a regular rom-com into movie theaters again. You're not.
Yeah, yeah, because all of that was
Those are
luck of
going
the
to be
draw.
your
You
those are going
had,
to be your official Netflix and chill movies.
yeah, you were hoping.
Yeah, date night becomes, yeah, that's a good point.
I
Way
mean,
easier to
you
chill
were
at home than it is in the movie theater.
all of these companies were putting out dozens of 40 to 50 million dollar movies, hoping one would hit the jackpot, make 300, 400 million dollars, fund all the rest of them that all broke even. It's the same thing with horror movies. You know,
Hmm.
10, 5, $10 million, they come out with 20 or 30 million dollars. You know, it's a money making thing. It just churns. You know, nothing,
And
and
now
you
all
hope.
you're going to do is make those movies and sell them to Netflix.
Right. Exactly. What did Netflix just buy for $100 million? What movie? There was a movie that was supposed to be released in theaters. I wish I had it on
Hmm.
top of my head.
It's
But
going to be a money play. Like that's,
I mean,
and
I
those,
mean the biggest
come
movie
on.
right now, the only guarantee in the theater right now is if your name is Marvel. As we're watching Shang-Chi just eat everybody's lunch. And even good movies, movies that we have liked, that we've given good grades to, isn't drawing people out for more than a $30 million opening and then dropping 50 or 60%, just because people aren't going to the theater in the same numbers, right? And so these companies who don't have a long running consistency where people are going, I know what that is, I know what it's going to get me, so I'm willing to put my money out and I'm willing to go sit in the theater for it. These other ones, people just, I don't know if they're just like, I don't know. Maybe I'll go do it, or I can go watch The Crown. I can go watch 6 hours of The Crown instead, right?
Hey, Chris, just to put a bow back on this whole Emmys discussion, I think what comes out of the all of the Emmy wins for like the streaming, Amazon, Netflix, HBO Max, is that now because of these critical acclaims, they can go out and get bigger budget actors and actresses because they can say, hey, listen, you come in this movie, you can get best actor, best what, because that trumps up their salary, right? Their pricing point. So now you can make a maybe not a mid tier rom com, but something a little more than that. Like a Bridesmaid that can generate in a typical box office environment 300 million. Now you can start churning those type of products, and I think that's so. I mean, broadcast TV is not a dying machine, but it's on its last legs when it comes to anything that's not considered live. Live like Mass Singer or football. When it comes to like drama and like anything that's not procedural, it's gonna have a tough outlook in the future compared to the streaming platforms.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Hey, now Keith had mentioned something in chat about a commercial that I have
Oh,
no
yes.
idea what he's talking about surrounding this Emmy discussion that you were interested in.
It's probably something that like the majority of people would have probably overlooked or what have you. But like, there's a there was a commercial during the Emmys about for Tiffany's, and it was Jay Z and Beyonce, the subjects of the commercial. Well done, very highly produced commercial. As like as not is the want of companies like Tiffany's. But like, although it was a decent commercial. I mean, it was a good commercial, very well produced. Even like the artwork in it had like pieces. I think a piece by Basquiat was featured. So like it was very much that was the blackest opulent commercial I think or commercial I think I've seen, or the biggest commercial of like opulence with a black paint over it, black American, let's say, like black American wealth and opulence. And a brand like Tiffany's doing that, I don't know. I thought like the message that I got from that commercial was a certain kind of awareness that that industry, and not just that industry, but like the luxury industry, the industries that comprise big money or this, that, and the other, like now have to pay attention to a certain segment that they very well like intentionally ignore.
That's really interesting. Thinking about watching football as it has started, and you get the kind of dual ends of the football commercials, section. You get the beer and normal guy stuff, and then you get the really high expensive end cars and stuff like that. That also, and there's one set of commercials that sticks out to me, and that's the watch. There's a certain watch brand that always has high end sports figures, and it's always yeah, and it's always Eli Manning, uh, some golf personality. Uh, Tiger Woods was the only non-white person I ever remember seeing in one of those. You know what I mean? And normally, I was like, Eli Manning, is Eli Manning really that kind of a face for a high-end brand? Yeah, it was always surprising to me because like your Patrick Mahomes end up selling dandruff shampoo and tacos or something like that.
Chris,
It's funny.
I think what I wanted to say to tail into what Keith was saying and kind of marry what you're saying, because I was watching the Emmys live, of course, and I was kind of shocked in my as the commercial started. I clearly see Jay-Z. He's wearing a custom tux, and then the camera pans, and I see Beyonce in a very almost like an evening gown, but a little bit casual. And then I hear the music, and I'm like, "What is this? Like an album? Like they're putting an album together?" And then I see like a grand piano, and I see the background, and I see like lovey-dovey action. Before I even realized this was a commercial, I was like, stop what I like. What is this? Like they're gonna announce something? Like what's going on? And this is like about 90-second commercial during the Emmys in the first hour, where you have the largest audience watching still, right? And then it hit me as the Tiffany's logo came on and the words of love. Like this was something that you rarely see in American culture. A black couple endearing themselves in love. Yeah, some of us know the background behind Beyonce and Jay-Z and the tabloids, whatever. But right now, you're watching this commercial, and you see not just black excellence, but black love being showcased in the highest end of luxury items, which was Tiffany's. And I was just sitting there like, I text, the chat, and I text Keith immediately. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just saw. Keith was telling me, that's been out for a couple of weeks now. And I'm like the rest of America watching the Emmys. I'm seeing this for the first time. And it's not like a sports athlete who's rocking a Tag Heuer or whatever. This is like something much, much layered in that commercial. And
Yeah,
it struck me.
and stupid me, my bladder started acting up, so I missed the whole thing altogether. Lucky it was on YouTube, right?
Like people just look at it as a good commercial, and it's though actually there's been the when I told you I saw it a couple of weeks ago, it's because people were already having discussions about it. Like the family and friends of Basquiat didn't like that artwork was in it for some particular, showcased in it for some particular reason, whatever. But when people watch something like that, like they might appreciate it like as a nice commercial, but like you got to think, if you know anything about marketing and like those kinds of companies and brands, they spend millions of dollars on marketing research. Commercials aren't just put together because it's a bunch of people in a room, you know what I'm saying, just like spitballing ideas. Like the who you see in a commercial is very highly researched. The fact that in mad commercials that we see now, like just a little thing like this, we see more mixed couples. You never saw that before. Like it's what this is this is what the product of marketing research does for these brands. Like, you want to see the change, you want to see if there's actual changes going on in America or any place. Look at your commercials, look at the advertisements that goes up. Like, that's a greater messaging tool to let you know if diversity things are working, if what, because those things, the background of all those things is math. Like, they don't waste money. Like, Jay and Beyonce cost a hell of a lot of money to be in that commercial. Like, they had to make sure that they were the right person. But because they were the right people, though, that is what interests me. What does that mean that the math is saying? What is the research saying?
Well, anything like
Because they're still trying to sell
marketing.
Tiffany products.
Yeah, marketing in general, but if you look at a company like Disney specifically, most companies are rather conservative. Disney specifically is almost like a trailing indicator of society as a whole. Like, you start seeing, you know, gay people as full characters inside a Disney movie, you know, society has gone way past that point because Disney's finally doing it, right? It's a trailing indicator of where the we are as a country, and this is a marketing that's telling people are going, hey, there's actually money there. There's people who want this in their lives, who need this, who are responding to this, and that's why we're going to do it.
And the money is gonna have a larger say.
Oh yeah.
Finances, the dollars behind finances are gonna have a larger say than like what's socially being said. You know what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
fought over this. But that commercial lets me know that there are more black people in that wealth market, and they're starting to realize that. That commercial, like, that's probably triggering some rich white Trump supporter.
It always
Their
does, right? Look,
no, I'm saying their normal
yeah,
target. Their
right.
normal target.
But
That commercial is
you know
triggering.
what? It comes down to it. This is one of the plus sides of capitalism, right? They go where the market dictates. So the
And that's
market
my point.
dictates they diversify.
Unless
So
they're owned by
Mike,
somebody who holds
make
it
sure we
back. At that point.
timestamp Mike's statement about the pluses of capitalism. Timestamp that.
People
Yeah,
act like I'm not a. Yeah,
it'll
people
be
act
the end
like
of the
they.
year.
Not you, Keith.
They're
Not you. Not
they
you.
I'm not.
hate. Not even other
I
people
don't know
who
why you
say that
guys keep
they hate
bringing up a
capitalism.
communist.
They don't want communism. They don't
No,
want communism. You want a more humane capitalism, but you don't
right.
Yeah.
want.
Unfettered
Like, you don't want.
capitalism is bad.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You need a. Hey, how did you get your socialism in my capitalism?
Actually, I think the
So get
successful
there.
system has a little bit of each of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right,
All right,
everybody. When we
we're
get
good.
back, we're gonna talk about what we're watching and just give it a whirl. All right. We'll see you in a
Oh,
few.
Keith's going to introduce us to his new favorite show.
International House pancakes.
I didn't
International House of
say it was my new
Pancakes.
favorite show, but it's a good show. It's interesting. Like, you
All right.
definitely.
When
All
we
right,
get
hold on a
back.
second. We're on break.
Break. And we're back, and we're here to talk about what we're talking about. As quick and as we got, because Keith wants to talk about his new favorite show.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Um,
What show are you watching, Keith? Let the people know so they should what they should
Actually,
Give
it's
the
a
watch.
people what they
combo
want.
because they're kind of like right next to each other on the H whatever app, HGTV app, but it's International House Hunters and International House and Caribbean Life, Caribbean Living. Yo, I would suggest anybody. I feel like everybody in America needs to be watching these shows. It's disrespectful what we're paying what we're paying for homes, rents, and purchases in this country when
Yeah, no, I would agree.
the
Would that
the
be the
most
downside of the capitalism?
That be the downside of of being the seat of capitalism. That's the
Right.
downside,
Don't
definitely.
stamp that. No.
Well, I am watching, and it's weird because like it starts out with like, oh, the couple. And you're interviewing the couple and like who who the
They
people
raise
the two people
tones
are.
and they have $4 million budget, right?
No, it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm a dog walker, and the other one's like, yeah, well, I'm a phlebotomist, and we
That's
just
right.
wanted to stop, we had to get out the grind, the rat race, and move to Costa Rica.
We
Like,
we we
it's always like, these white people really like. They make you feel like you're like, damn, like I'm a neuroscientist and I'm struggling to pay. I'm struggling to pay these college loans, and these
right.
guys out here really just like investigating all their global options. And this dude is like a dog walker, like.
Yeah, they're
But
breeding
it's weird
strange
because when they
rats and they're
speak
making $1 million somehow.
and they speak to the real estate agents, they're like, well, the real estate agent asks them, okay, so what are you guys looking for? Now he's having them, or he or she is having a meeting with them at like a beach or this, that, and the other, some little cabana, and they're like, "Well, we definitely have to have a view. We definitely have to have a view of the ocean.
Ocean.
We want a complex with a pool. We need 2 or 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, because we're gonna have a lot of guests. Blah blah blah. A litany, a litany, a whole list of things." And then the agent's like, okay, so like, what kind of budget are we talking about? Well, I'm looking for something. We're looking at about like top range of like $950 a month. And I immediately start laughing.
$950.
I immediately start laughing because I'm thinking the realtor is going to be laughing at them. Like, ha, you want to do what? You better go back to America and walk dogs for a little bit longer. Agent immediately says, "It's like, yeah, I got some options for you."
Options.
And the show proceeds. It's normally like 3 homes in the show. They get to you get to see them choose
Yeah,
between 3 homes.
good, bad, medium. Yeah, I know.
And they'll go into these joints like, oh, this 2 bedroom is 1,600 square feet. It's a 2 bedroom. Oh, it has another room that's like an anything room. You could turn that into another bedroom if you want. It's got 2 bathrooms. It's got a pool in the back. Like this one's only $750 a month. Like what the hell?
Oh, and then the bad part is the beach. You have to walk to the beach. You can't get right off the beach.
It's a 12-minute walk instead of a 7-minute walk.
I haven't paid that much since
No, those will be the
1999.
differences. Like those will be the differences. Like people are taking a step out and actually like showing the rest of us that really we're getting disrespected here. Like it's disrespectful. I pay $1,500 a month in rent here in New York.
Mm.
Crap. Yeah, it's nothing. A drop in the bucket. You know what $1,500 a month would get me in St. Croix or or, or Turks and Caicos even or like
I'll tell you what, I am not against taking this Heroes Peak company offshore, if that's what you're asking me to do.
Offshore.
I will gladly move us to Turks and Caicos if necessary.
Dude, I think
Gangster.
I paid that much at the ass edge of Syracuse in 1999. I think I was paying $700 for a 1 bedroom that didn't have more than a microwave in the kitchen.
At that time, that $700 could have probably got you a mansion.
Right?
Probably got you a mansion in Costa Rica. Just so you know.
I was
Yeah,
just
if
in
you
the
really-
wrong city on the wrong coast.
Yeah, I'm telling
But
you,
so,
when
yeah.
I was
No, go
looking at places and when I was starting Queens College there, and I was looking with some buddies for like a 3-bedroom in Queens. At that time, you could get a nice 3-bedroom for like $900 a month, you know. And then when I went back recently, I was looking through the papers. I was like, no way, these prices.
$900 to get you laughed at. Get you laughed at. That's what they get you.
Seriously, if
But
you can
not,
just go
but
on
not
TikTok.
everywhere.
No,
Not-
but
That
you can go on
American
TikTok
$100
and
can
you
go
look
a
at
lot further in some places.
if you go on TikTok and search up like house apartment rentals and stuff like that, you'll see people show off these tiny little things that they're paying like $2,000 a month for. It's nuts.
Dude,
But you know what?
that's
It gives me hope in my later years when I choose to retire. It definitely won't be in the States. It's gonna be somewhere.
No, like
Look,
I can't.
it's not any better up here. It is. Toronto is crazy. Vancouver
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
No,
Oh,
but
yeah.
because you're too close.
Yeah.
You're too close to the seat of capitalism. Like
Yeah, that's the problem.
Canada and America are like cousins. Like it's not
Mhm.
way too close. The whole capitalism thing is definitely is going to bleed over. Like it's just I'm not expecting to find super value in
yeah.
Canada.
You guys got to put that wall up soon.
Maybe better people, but like not super different capitalism. You got to
We're
go
trying,
further.
but the maple syrup they keep using for the bricks keeps melting in the summer. So it doesn't work very well.
Just wait till it gets hotter. You won't even have that anymore.
Holy
all
shit.
the buildings leaning to the side. You're like, oh, it's good maple this year. But yeah, I would suggest that people watch this show, especially if like you have a yearning in your heart. Like this might not be the place where you're at, might not be the country, or it might not be the place for you. It may not be another state that you're looking for. It could be a whole nother country. And trust me, it's more affordable than you think. And you will actually start looking at these things and feel very, very silly.
Yeah, because half the fun of watching some of these shows, the HGTV shows, is going, why is that person paying $1.5 million for a tenth of an acre and a falling apart bedroom down in LA? Like, why are they paying that money? Seems ridiculous.
You know, you
It's
can
not
still
a
get a
good-
four
it's
bedroom
not
in
a good
Detroit for like
commercial for America,
$8,000.
I'll tell you that.
So,
Yeah, but you know what I noticed, Keith? Because I watched some of these shows too, especially when I first bought my house years ago. The original ones that are stateside, usually like young couples that for some reason make a lot of money and just started working. But the ones in the Caribbean are older, semi-retired. They've learned the game, and they've learned I'm gonna rather spend my money much more wisely.
Check out the newer episodes. The newer episodes, like the newer seasons, like the people are younger. Like they're
Oh,
young.
okay. I
Like,
haven't watched it
that's
for years.
because, like,
All right.
oh, people are fleeing this country, brother. Fleeing.
So it was International House Hunters and Caribbean
Caribbean living.
Caribbean
Living.
Yes.
Everybody go check that out.
HGTV.
HGTV. Have fun with that. They're a blast. I love
fun.
watching all that stuff.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Keith. All right. James, what have you been watching?
For me, I've been watching a plethora of stuff. What We Do in the Shadows, Ted Lasso. But the one thing I have to give credit, I have to shout out to is American Horror Story on FX. It's on its 8th season now, and it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone.
no, I haven't seen one episode. I'm kind of like on the fence about it.
This
It's
is the one where the picture has
I would-
like an alien kissing a something.
A vampire, yeah. They mix it up
Yeah.
this the vampire and an alien. I was at
out after that.
San Diego Comic Con in 2017, I think it was. And at midnight, FX had a big revealing of what the show's title for that season and the art was going to be. And I kid you not, there was hundreds of people waiting by this hotel lobby just to see it. And I was one of them because we were online for the next day's WB Wonder Woman. So I was like, hey, this line's right next to this line. I'll wait in this line too because I watched the show. I took a photo for my sister who's a huge fan of it. But that show is interesting because they recycle a lot of the same actors. And they have some very good actors. Sarah Paulson, top-notch actors. Evan Peters, who you might know as Boner and WandaVision.
He got an Emmy for that role.
He got an Emmy for WandaVision, but he got an Emmy for that Mayor of Easttown show that none of us watched.
Oh, was it for that one? I thought it was for Horror Story. All right.
Oh, he got it from Mayors of Easttown.
Yeah.
So that show is an interesting take on classic horror tropes. You know, aliens in the 50s, vampires, ghosts haunting homes. But it's adult. It's definitely adult. You know,
It looks like fanfic come to life. Is really whenever I see a commercial for it.
It's gothic gone all the way as far as they can push it without being on HBO.
Right.
That show is super disturbing, bro. Like,
it is.
I watched the whole first season. I could not watch that show again beyond that. Like,
I think I know at one point you jumped ship. The guy in the rubber suit.
No, the ghost guy in the rubber suit having sex with the babe. They have a baby, a partial ghost babe. I just couldn't.
Who becomes a demon? He becomes a demon in the later series.
He becomes a demon that the grandma steals, and the old lady next door steals because the ghost who raped the broad is actually her son.
And then part of a witch's cousin. Yeah.
It was such a disturbing show that I just couldn't. To this day, I have not watched another episode in another season ever.
Well, I recommend it for the rest of our audience to give it a shot. It's on season 8 right now. They're about halfway through the first arc, which is the vampires, and the next arc will be the aliens, and somehow the season finale will tie the stories together. Aliens actually created vampires.
There's going to be an alien vampire raping going on in some kind of way. Watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of sex. You know, premium cable sex.
Not that Red Shoe Diary trash.
Hey, that got me through my early teens.
It got all my
TMI.
On that.
Thank you, early HBO. Cinemax. It was early Cinemax.
It was Skinemax. Yeah.
Skinemax.
That and the in-between channels.
That's right. The in-between channels where you're like...
the wavy lines.
Is that a nipple?
I see something. I think I see something.
Now, look how off the chain we are without Queen of the Pod here, man. We're
okay,
like, why'd you have to bring her up? Yes. I feel bad.
Okay.
It's Mike's turn.
All right, so I've been talking to you guys about this show last couple of days. I had been meaning to watch it ever since I saw the ads, but the show is Dr. Death on Peacock. It's a Peacock original. It's not like a horror, but it's based on this doctor, this neurosurgeon, and he basically has done so many botched surgeries. He killed 2 patients. His name is Christopher Dunch, and it takes place. He graduated school in '95, and then somehow got a medical certification. When he killed somebody and then botched a couple of surgeries, then two surgeons that were working at the hospital decided to look into him and his past, and then they brought a DA with them, who eventually found out he was doing malpractice, and he's in jail now. But it goes through the story of what he did and how they caught him. He faked a bunch of stuff, but great show. It's got Joshua Jackson from Fringe. He plays the doctor. Alec Baldwin is one of the doctors trying to bust him, and Christian Slater is the other one. And there's a great cast. It's only 8 episodes. They're about an hour each, so you could probably do it over a weekend with nothing to do, or just let it play in the background. But I would recommend you pay attention to it.
Let it play in the background.
Highest recommendation we can give.
No. The thing is, if you don't like blood, I would say do that. The dialogue is fantastic. So as long as you're listening to the dialogue and what they're saying about him and what he's saying, that's the main thing. So that's my recommendation.
All right, and last is my recommendation, which is going to be very quickly here. We started the new Dan Brown TV show on Peacock called The Lost Symbol. if you've ever seen the Da Vinci Code, if you've ever seen Angels and Demons, it's literally the exact same thing.
Hmm.
Wait,
There's
is it
really
lost?
not.
Is it any new books that came out? Because I read the original too and seen the movies. Is
It's
Lost
it's
Symbols a new book?
it's a 2009 book, so it's an older
Okay,
book. So, but still, it's the same feeling. I mean, the main cast is pretty cool. But it's searching for old classic symbols to discover
Catholic
a
and
murder.
Egyptian
Yeah,
symbols. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly what you expect. They're not doing anything wild like you go, oh, that's really interesting. No, it's a Dan Brown thing. If you like the Dan Brown stuff, you're gonna want to watch it. It's good. The quality's pretty good. The main cast is solid.
Did you
So
say that's on Peacock? I didn't hear you at the beginning.
it's on Peacock. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's fine.
I haven't
'Cause,
seen that on the list there. That's weird. I probably got to search it up.
yeah, I mean, I grew
Yeah.
up being a huge fan of the books, and then the movies were terrible. So, is this? Would you say
I've
this is better
never
than
read the book.
the movies?
This is right up the. It's exactly like the movies.
Ugh. All right, thanks.
So if you
That's
don't
what
I
like
I
the
thought the
knew.
movies,
first
you're
movie
probably
was fine.
The first
I didn't have
was
a problem with
okay. Then it went downhill after that.
it.
yeah. I mean, it's more like the first one, I guess. I mean, again, it's a series, so it's kind of drawn out a little bit more. You get more background of the main character. The main character is the same guy, but it's
Mm-hmm.
obviously played by a new younger actor. So it's more like it's kind of like where Indiana Jones went. The second movie is happens before the first movie, right? The second Indiana Jones Temple of Doom is technically
Angels.
the first Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, I don't remember. No.
I don't think
Whatever.
so, but okay.
But I think this is technically prequel to the other ones, just by the age of the actor that
But
they
is it the
chose.
same character?
It is the same character.
Okay.
At least if I remember the character's name correctly, then
I'll
it
look it
should be
up
the same.
because it's not really marketed. I didn't hear about it until now.
Yeah,
I
that's what I was saying. I haven't
well,
heard of
we
this.
we watch Peacock quite a bit because we've been
Hmm.
watching Monk and whatever old. They have a lot of procedural stuff, and I watch football on there, so I get all of their commercials over and over again, just the same ones repeated over and over again. So yeah,
All
that's my
right, lost
recommendation. Go watch
symbols.
it.
Excellent. I'm gonna look for it because my wife likes that kind of stuff too, right? So
Yeah, it's
she
it's
likes to.
good. Like I said, we're big mystery of the week kind of
Mm,
people, murder of the week, mystery of the week, that kind of stuff. It's
yeah,
like, you guys ever watch The Librarians?
No, I started
yeah. I saw a couple episodes of
years
that.
ago.
Yeah.
Years ago.
It's a higher. The Lost Symbol is a higher quality than The Librarians. Librarians always felt kind of like a more cheesy adventure kind of
Basically, a
thing.
sci-fi channel show.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is definitely a step up from that. This definitely has a
yeah.
much higher
What the books did, which I know the movies never did, is they really attacked the Catholic Church. They really went into the books, and the movies never kind of. I mean, I guess for
I
obvious
don't know.
reasons.
The second movie was pretty straightforward forward for his disposition against the church or whatever. But
Mm,
yeah, this is it hasn't gone that way. Right now, it's very character driven. There doesn't seem to be a specific target for which group he's got it in for this time. It definitely is more character focused. Um, the main character and whoever Eddie Izzard is playing his old mentor who gets kidnapped, and that's where the whole mystery starts. And that happens right away in the first episode. So, but they go in the back. You get flashbacks. You get their conversations. What happened between this guy and this girl. So it's a lot more character focused than the movies, which is very much more adventure focused. It is the
Mm.
same guy because his whole thing about having fallen in the well and having issues with tight spaces comes into play in like the second episode.
Claustrophobic, yeah.
Yeah, so it is the same. It is the same character.
All right, I'm gonna give it a shot on your
Give it a shot.
recommendation only.
That's right. Always listen to me. Now you just got to
yeah,
catch
I'm
up
gonna
on
add it to the
Boruto.
list too. So I'll check it out.
All right. When we get back, we're going to talk Why the Last Man.
Why not?
Be right back.
Why ask why? But dry.
Why not both?
Welcome back for our discussion of Why the Last Man. This is the 2021 drama series based on the 2002 to 2008 science fiction comic book by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerrera. So, Why the Last Man is on Hulu, FX on Hulu. And
Yeah, confusing. FX through
Yeah.
Hulu.
What's that about? But anyway,
It's just on Hulu. You don't have to pay extra for it. As long as
We'll ask Queen of the Pod will tell us another day.
That's right. She'll explain it. So we're on episode. We're going to talk about the first 3 episodes. The 4th one may have dropped by this time, probably. It's a post-apocalyptic world in which all people with the Y chromosomes have died, including animals, except one, and that's our and main protagonist Yorick Brown. And
Yorick, Yorick.
Yorick from Shakespeare.
Yorick, yeah.
Yorick.
From your Shakespeare.
Yeah, Yorick.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well.
Yeah, unless we're pronouncing it wrong. So this one stars Diane Lane, Ashley Romans, and Brian Schnetzer as Yorick Brown. So we're going to do a basic what we felt about the first 3 episodes before we talk any details here. So, Mike,
yeah. So full disclosure before we start, I only saw the first 2. So
first
you didn't see the third one?
I didn't see the third one yet.
Okay, so the first 2.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. We're not going to go into enough detail, probably, or spoil anything that'll surprise you. What did you think about those 2 episodes you saw, Mike, overall?
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
So far, so good. Was a good start to this series, I think. They're doing it kind of Lost style with the present day and then the flashbacks, and then trying to catch you up on why things are happening and what's going on. So far I don't know too much. I know pretty much that the shit's hit the fan and then all the men are dead, and there's one guy left, and he was scrounging around New York City swimming through subway water. Which was
for his monkey.
Was so nasty.
His monkey apostrophe?
Capuchin. Ampersand.
Yeah, ampersand.
Whatever.
That would have been a cooler name.
Apostrophe is better than ampersand. Ampersand is kind of hard to say.
Semicolon over here.
But I do like we're getting the flashbacks. We're building the world. We're building the characters. You're getting to see flashbacks of what they were doing before the event happened, right? So
there was less cheering than I expected when all the men died. That was the only thing that surprised me.
Right,
James,
so far, 100 times better than Manifest.
That's right.
Oh, come on. Don't cheap
James,
shot my show.
What was your first thought about your first couple of episodes?
I mean, I agree with Mike about the Lost, the way that they're. I've seen all 3, but the first 2, the way that they're taking us through the story of how all the men are dying and how the women are taken. Well, it's actually not men. It's any mammal with the Y chromosome. So it does involve some women, and unfortunately, there's some trans men and trans women that are involved, which I realized wasn't in the original graphic or comic book. But now they've updated to match 2021 heteronorm and cisgender and all that kind of stuff. I like the flashback concept, but unlike Lost, the characters don't inspire me to keep watching. The only actor that I really care about is the African American woman who plays
Ashley Romans.
Ashley Romans.
355.
Her character in the story revolving, she's like a gravitational pull in a good way. Like where the story goes with her, that's the only time I care about this show. When it's Diane Lane and the Republican conservative women against the administration, Yorick, which is the worst lead I've seen on any apocalyptic show since Carl in
Amber
Walking Dead.
Hamlin replaced the Republican
Yeah,
woman.
What is
like
the lead? I thought he
he's
was fine.
he's the worst. He's supposed to be a lead on the show.
Right, but what?
Okay, all right. This is the
I don't think he's that
discussion I
bad. But
want
go
to
on.
have.
He makes
We'll see.
Carl from Walking Dead look like freaking Anthony Hopkins in Thor 1. Terrible actor, terrible role, just terrible. So my first take of the show is, and it took me episode 3, the latter half, to say, you know what, I'm going to keep watching it because, again, Ashley, what's her last name? I want to make sure I get it right.
Tamblin is I believe,
Amber
is
Tamblyn.
Amber
Agent
Tamblin.
55.
No, Agent
No.
35. Ashley Romans is who
Ashley
we were.
Ashley Romans, she has a heavier part of the third episode that, again, I felt like, okay, now I want to see where episode 4 is going. Well, without her in this entire story, I wouldn't watch it.
Okay,
Hmm,
all right.
that's
So
interesting. All right.
here, I'm gonna kind of combine both of those viewpoints here. Is that all right? So I don't normally watch the high end drama series, as you guys know. I never talk about those because I don't generally follow them. So this is more along that very highly produced drama series style than it is action adventure and comic book anything. So don't expect going in this and get a high level action or anything, by the way. I haven't read the comic book, unfortunately, so I don't know it. Unfortunately, fortunately, whatever. So I don't know any of the story about this. Going into it, uh, the lost idea that okay, we're going to show you this character, get to know this character, get to know this character. It was like, okay, am I watching The West Wing now? It's kind of okay, some politics, some family stuff. This is their relationships, so you get to know all these women. So one of the interesting thing is it's all women that you follow, like, and their relationships with their husbands or boyfriends or sons or whatever is really important, but you're following them. And then you get to Yorick, and I agree with um, James in the sense that I hate this main character. I don't think it's because the actor is doing a bad job. Unfortunately, I think he's doing a great job with a character that's meant to be the worst thing since the main character in Evangelion. Shinji, just want to choke them every time you see them on screen, because I don't know how far, Mike, if it's mostly in, you see it a little bit in episode 2, but in episode 3, you get a lot more of the horrors of Yorick. Because what really did it for me was when, do you guys remember when he after the sewer scene, he goes into a dry cleaners? Was this in episode 2 or 3? And okay, and the woman points a gun at him, and he's scared, and he gets down, and just he's this blubbering, just nothing. There is nothing about this guy that, and this is after you've been shown he can't keep his money, he can't talk to his girlfriend, he can't buy cheese, like whatever the hell, he
He
can't keep
chases
his
a freaking
job.
through a subway for no reason.
So
He's
typical
just,
liberal Gen Z then.
that's right. He's
But he
just
looks like he's much older than Gen
Right.
Z.
Sorry,
So-
millennial.
so I get the idea that they're like, and I don't know how much this relates to the original story. I'm assuming it's somewhat
Yeah, from what I
related to
read,
the character.
from the comics, real quick, the character that they're portraying on screen is very similar to the comic book character, so they're not deviating too much.
Right. So I'm expecting, yes, they don't want him to come in and be, a tough guy, take over, leader of the free world, kind of like the last man is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I understand that, but man, I just want to choke him every time I see him on screen. And it gets worse in episode 3 when he's like, you are the last person to possibly bring the human race forward. You're it, dude. That's it. You're it. So you would think you'd kind of come to grips with this idea that, oh shit, man, I've got some responsibility on this. But god damn it, everything he says is frustrating. You just want to slap him. You want every woman. Do you guys remember like the scene in Airplane where the woman's screaming and everybody lines up and slaps him? I want that York sitting in that seat and every woman to walk up and slap that dude in the face because he is obnoxious. Okay, I had to say that, but I'm sure the actor is doing a fine job doing that.
But that's
But
I think that's a plus because I don't. Did we really want an alpha male?
no, no, no. I want him to
Like,
have one thing that that makes me think that this is a character I want to follow. If you're gonna
but
make him the lead,
right.
if you're gonna make him the character, the main protagonist, I need
Mhm.
something that I want to follow.
Yeah, I
Correct.
get you, but that leaves a lot of room for redemption down the season, right?
I
Like
yeah.
No,
it's time for him to step up.
Except you had the ability, like James said, Ashley Roman's Agent 355 is the most interesting thing in this show. This could
Hmm.
have easily been more following her in taking care of this sniveling worm, right?
no.
She is
I have the cheat code on this because I actually did some reading behind the graphic novel and the long task it took to get into this adaptation. If at one point supposed to be a movie, didn't work out, development hell, then eventually became, passed hands around. But everyone agreed that what made the comic book at least good to develop into adaptation is the ancillary characters, and some of them we haven't seen yet in the show. It wasn't Yorick. It was a lot of the other surrounding people and soon to be introduced folks that are in this world and how they remobilize this world without men, and the doctor, which I think is in episode 4, that's going to help trying to find a cure with Yorick, all that stuff. Everyone agrees that Yorick, the main character, wasn't what was intriguing about the comic book. So I'm sitting here thinking, wow, if it's not going to get any better unless they redo something in the show, then this is a tough thing to watch.
Mm.
For me, anyway.
it's fine to understand that this character has a lot of places he can go but it just I don't see even a single redemptive him running around New York after 3 years crying for the girl who left him the night of the event or whatever is it's just annoying more than anything. It's not it doesn't feel like, oh, this is his long love. They were in a great relationship and she disappeared after this event. And so he's struggling to find her. He wants to find her. I get that. No, she walked out on him the day and he's like, "Should we get married?" Spoiler. And she goes, "No, you shouldn't follow me to Australia."
Yeah,
No,
because
no,
you
no.
won't be able to
No.
meet people if we get
No.
married. I'm like, what?
What?
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. She brushed you off, dude. Yeah, take it. Take the L and move on a little bit. No, he tells his mom. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. I guess
Okay,
No,
so
go ahead. No, it's
he
fine. Go for it.
he tells his mom. He finally gets back with his mom for a half an episode, and he tells her that he's engaged,
Hmm.
which is the biggest dick move.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not even the biggest dick move. How about when she's worried about the fragility of the entire U.S. government at that point, and him possibly being the cure, and his response is, "No, find someone else. Just help me find Beth, my fiance.
yes, exactly.
That's more important than anything else you're thinking about." And I'm like, this is like beyond entitled. This is just a dumb character, and I get it. It's written that way, but it's just tough to follow this character. If it wasn't for Agent 355 in episode 3 and their interaction, I probably would have. I would have cut the show off right there.
The one thing I'm okay. So next, let's just say something that you saw that you're interested in coming up if you're going to continue to watch. For me, it was the 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 Republicans because they're it's definitely the Republicans who are
Yeah,
about to try to stage a coup. How apt to take over power of this new government. Um, because the one woman woke up and basically the show basically calls her Q. It basically says she's Majority Green Taylor or whatever the frick her name
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. They're relating her to QAnon.
Yeah, basically, they're like, "Oh, that racist! I can't believe they put her in government." And then, it was the biggest mistake of this presidency, and so now it's looking like she's coming back to try to gain some power. And I thought that was interesting point to it. Did you guys see anything? So, James, you've been
Yeah,
basically saying
that's so.
355.
Now we get to somewhat positive. To me, it's how the government's going to react, how the government is functioning, I should say, because you've got Diane Lane's playing, a Democratic congressman who was next in chain according to the Constitution, and obviously everyone around her is Democrat. But then you've got this conservative women's group who are either married to or part of the previous administration, which was Republican, and they're like, this is not the people. People didn't vote for this. Very apropos to our modern times, right? And then there's one Republican who's with Diane Lane. They call her a rhino. For those of us who know, like
Oh, right.
Feinstein in Maine was considered a rhino because she was Republican, but she voted at times the Democratic Party. So I thought that angle of the show was interesting.
Very timely.
But yeah, very timely, very interesting. And it's good for me to follow this to see how they're going to actually make the government function. When they call that one engineer, the female engineer, in my mind, I'm thinking, holy cow, I've worked with a lot of utility engineers, and I can't remember one instance where there was a female on the conference call where we're talking about utility power or natural gas. Like, that stuff to me made sense. Like, there was one woman they could find to turn the grid on, as in the industry. That makes perfect sense that it would be that difficult of a task. So stuff like that kind of kept me connected to the show, despite Uric, I gotta say.
All right, Mike, a positive.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm only 2 into it, and I like what I've seen so far. I'm giving it a pass right now because it is the start of the series. They have to build a world. They have to build the characters. We have to know what's going on, and then at some point, if it turns into like Walking Dead season 9, at some, just end this. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So we don't grade things that we just have three episodes in on.
No, I think if we do our quick peek, like on the series,
when it comes around, if hopefully it picks up and we get something to help us with this main character and the surrounding characters. It sounds like the surrounding characters are gonna. I mean, it was a 6-year long run of a story, so it had to have something that was attracting people to it. So I'm hoping for it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and go watch International House Hunters and move to Costa Rica. Apparently,
and give a new American Horror Story, a shot.
That's right.
Yeah, don't forget Dr. Death.
Dr. Death.
By the way, folks, don't forget to follow us on social media at Heroes Peak, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Leave a comment below. Hit the bell so you'll get notifications on when we release new content. Share our content. Let people know we're out there. And give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. And
leave a comment, please. If I know many of you are watching, but only less than a handful leave a comment. Please leave a comment.
Next week, I expect to be talking about Star Wars Visions.
Yes,
I will not be stopped. That is what we'll be talking about. Star Wars Visions. So if you're excited, come join us next week. See you later, guys.
Good night.